All right. Welcome, everyone. It's 5 o'clock. We'll start the Commission for the Arts October meeting. Oops. So we'll do a call to order, a roll call.
Let the record show that all commissioners are present.
Thank you. Again. Okay, we'll stand to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there special presentations or proclamations?
Yes, today we have a special presentation by Jay Bell from Campagna Studios regarding proposed donation of a mural to be located at Pacific View Art Center.
Okay. So,
Jay Bell, you can come on up to the lectern. And
thanks, Jay, for coming tonight. We invited you after some more questions.
Yeah, great. Good to see everyone. Is there any background before I get started? Does everybody remember from our last meeting? Cool. And then what you see in front of you is we actually adjusted the colors to the palette that was used for Pacific View. If you could just go to the next slide, possibly. So we just worked off of these colors that were the approved palette for Pacific View. I know there's some conversation about that last time.
Can he put his podium up higher?
Great, thank you. Thanks for coming here and answering our questions. Would you mind giving us a little bit of a background about the image and sort of the history of the image, how it was designed, what it was used for?
Sure, absolutely. So Campana Studios was founded about 4 years ago, and our first program was called a Be Strong, Say Fuerte program, and it was a community-wide coloring contest during the early stages of the pandemic. I had been the president of the Encinitas Educational Foundation, and when the schools shut down, we realized that about 3 schools, there were a considerable amount of kids facing food insecurity because they received a lot of their meals from school. It was Capri, Paul Leckie, and Ocean Knoll. Capri kind of had their own program, so we started a program at those 2 school sites. There's a fair amount of donations that were happening in food, but we found that what was lacking was people want to buy their own stuff. You know, sometimes the food people are dropping off doesn't really match up with what the people who were getting the food wanted. So we started a program working with the PTAs. It was called Be Strong, Say Fuerte. That was district-wide. And we worked with the PTAs to get donations. Something that came up and was just a bit of a creative segue was there's not a lot of art programming going on when the schools shut down as well. So we started a community-wide coloring contest that ran for 20 weeks. Every week, a coloring sheet was released. You can check it out on Instagram if you like, hashtag Be Strong, Say Fuerte. Maybe some of your kids did it. And it became a quite popular program. And this was actually the logo that it started with. It started with this idea that we all see here in Encinitas and really along the coast anywhere. And it's this shared experience of a sunset. If you go anywhere in the world, I was just overseas, everybody lines up and watches the sunset. And it's a cross-cultural, intersectional kind of moment that everybody can enjoy and appreciate. I had been involved years ago with Pacific View when a nonprofit developer was trying to develop it. I was on that board, and I always thought of that imagery when you'd sit at Pacific View, since it is Pacific View. So we looked to combine kind of that community experience that was great, along with the orientation of Pacific View. The Be Strong, Say Fuerte program, I thought maybe it was going to be good for like 30 grand. It ended up raising over $175,000. 100% of it was distributed in $50 gift cards to Smart and Final. So that's kind of the origin. This was the original logo, and it's all about that proximity and this shared experience of the sunset on the Pacific. or anywhere.
Are there more questions, or does the ad hoc want to?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. So you said that you worked with the colors. How did you go about that process? Did you actually go to the building and kind of hold it up, swatches up, up onto the building or something?
Sure. So Campana Studios receive about half our money from grant programs. The other half we receive it actually from contracted services, where we're creating jobs for artists to go out and work. And we had actually received a contract to do some painting at Pacific View on the sign. So we had the color palette. So I actually took the actual color palette that the architects used on the project and then worked on the colors to use for this. So I think with the exception of one color, which was just kind of more of a tint of one of those. Could you flip over that, Colette? This is the actual, I don't know if you can pull out a little bit, but this is the actual colors that were used on the project by that were approved by the architect and also the design committee and everyone on the project. I want to go like that to the screen. You can see it's, yeah, if you go full screen, I think, on that. If you shut that side down, maybe you can scroll up with hair. Yeah, just scroll up. Other way. There you go. So I know from being involved, just there's a lot of extensive work put into the colors and the design on that, so we just wanted to kind of continue that with this project as well and just use that palette. Based on feedback we kind of received it the last time, too.
So another quick question based on what you just said. You said that you have artists contracted that create the artwork. Is that something that will happen here? Will
That's our design. I created it, but we would actually employ, a big part for us is workforce development, is not just the programs that we offer, but giving visual artists from San Diego County work. So on this particular job, we would probably be employing probably 4 in total artists that would be working on this. And it's a big part of what we do is creating jobs for artists.
Great. How do you select those artists? Do you have a...
Yeah, we have a pool that we work with, and some of them like to work as teaching artists. We run programs at the elementary schools. We run at 2 elementary schools in Encinitas. We have weekend adult workshops in Carlsbad. We do things at the Farm Lab. And some like to teach and some like to work. And you're familiar with, El Portal that we just wrapped up. That was an example where working in partnership with an artist, we were able to kind of create the opportunity and then manage it. So that's what we would do here. And, in setting this up, I'm big, I'm an artist. Fair and just labor practices are very important to me, so it's something that we're looking at. So all of our artists make a minimum of $30 an hour. On these, unless they want to set their fee. But the other thing for me is we also, everybody's given the opportunity to be an employee, so they can actually be covered under our workers' comp and the other insurances that we have. We found that these great projects come up, but often insurance and other things are a barrier to entry for a lot of the artists we work with. I say artists we work with like it's kind of detached. I mean, they're all friends, and you probably know a lot of them too, So it's just the community at large here that we're working with.
Thank you.
I had a quick question, Jay.
Yeah.
First of all, thanks
Sure.
for giving us the background. It's such a great story and a great cause and great success story.
Thank you.
And I was curious, obviously the art, aside from that story of its genesis, stands on its own for the reasons that you talked about with the kind of the universality of the sunset image. But I was curious whether, and this might go beyond the scope of the piece itself, but whether there's any chance of like some kind of collateral material being available to fill people in, because there's so much resonance to that story, and not everybody who sees it obviously would know the background. I didn't know if
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I think about that a lot as a painter. Things. I think things need to make sense just as you see them, have experience, and then the context can always inform. What I was envisioning on this project, because we're thinking about on how you do that with public art, what I was envisioning on this project is actually a QR code that you can kind of then scan and get the background. And we're seeing with a lot of signage, that seems to be the way things are going with public art. And hopefully QR codes will be around for a really long time. But I feel like, to get the story and get, even with a single artist's work to get kind of the biographical and context. I think that's the storytelling part of it is a part of the work to me, and I think some sort of QR code and could do that.
That's awesome. Thank you.
I have a quick question. Thanks for being here and for being willing to answer our questions. As part of the project that you proposed in your donation, if the mural needed maintenance down the road, is that something that would be provided?
I'm happy I'm sure we'd have a contract in place and, as a part of this donation. And if there's maintenance, that's a part of that. That's definitely something we would take into consideration.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I believe that is a part of all donations.
And
and
we
loans.
will fulfill whatever requirements as long as they're fair. No, just kidding. But we'll fulfill whatever requirements are associated with this project we could fulfill.
How long would it take to paint that, something like that?
That's a good question. 2 weeks? Yeah, I don't think it'd be full in. We'd have to get those lines in there. It would take us a little bit. But yeah, I'd say about 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay, great. Are there further questions for Jay?
Are we going to discuss it next, or?
I think we'll discuss it during the work plan at the ad hoc, at that portion to discuss. That way you don't have to hang out, but you're absolutely welcome to. Okay.
I did have one quick question. I think this came up about the particular wall that's being chosen for this to be on. I don't know if there was any. Did you feel that was kind of the right site for this to be?
Well, I do feel like it was the right site, and that's why we proposed that one. But I'm open to further discussion on that. I do feel like it's an interesting juxtaposition to have your back and to have your back going to your back to the actual sunset and that in front of you. I think it's interesting. I think it's a good welcome, but always take under consideration. I know you have a lot of factors to consider when you're evaluating donations like this.
For sure.
I had one more question too. So in addition to the QR code, is there anything else that would be added to this? Any kind of anything else, or is it this plus QR code?
What are you thinking? No, I don't know.
No, I was wondering if you were going to have Campagna Studios.
Oh, I don't. Something. Yeah, it's a great. Thank you for asking that question. We don't need anything, and I actually think that since I do have the microphone, that's one of the challenges with murals around the city right now is so many of them are becoming advertising. So I think if we can have standalone murals that are just about the art, that kind of fits in from a mission basis for us also. This is more about Pacific View and the community than it is really about any individual artist. I can say that because I'm the one who designed it, but no, this is a community-driven project, so I don't see any need for signage or anything like that for us. A little QR code, maybe bottom left-hand side, indiscreetly, and then maybe the same black shadow like that. I think it could kind of tuck it in there.
Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, and thank all of you for your service. I appreciate it. So take care. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. So we'll move on to item 6, changes to the agenda.
Oh, do you want to go back to item 5 for oral communications? We have.
I'm sorry. So sorry.
That's okay.
Number 5, oral communications.
Yes, for oral communications, we have one speaker today. That speaker is Hillel Ketzef. He's here to introduce himself and his vision of establishing a nonprofit music and arts salon at his home. And as a reminder, you have 3 minutes to address the commission.
Thank you. It's really a pleasure being here and meeting you all. I've had some email communication with Jennifer previously. My name's Hillel Ketzef. I live in Cardiff on Bellevue Avenue. I've been a resident for 11 years. And I just retired 6 months ago. I'm re-envisioning my life, and I'm dedicating this next period of my life to establishing and creating community around music and the arts. So, and also, I'm being motivated by my wife, who passed away a little less than 2 years ago. She retired as a deputy superintendent of the Vista School District, and she was much loved and respected, and she loved art, music, and education. So each salon will be dedicated to her memory and her son. If you don't know what a salon is, it's back in the 1700s, 1800s in France and Italy, classical musicians, composers would be invited to the home of a well-established family, and they would play music, and there would be people invited, and there'd be some discussion, a little bit of food, and building community. I envisioned doing it 21st century Cardiff style. So very, we'll see what the challenges are, but I envision it being classical music based with 6 musicians or ensembles over the course of an hour and a half, but it's jazz, blues, spoken word, even dance, and visual arts as well. So it's going to be interesting. My role will be to host and curate the music and the salon. But yeah, building community is really the basis of, and creating a little peace and hope in our world. It will be not-for-profit, so it'll be donation-based. So people that attend, the audience, will be, making a donation. I can suggest a donation, but that's where the funding will be, both a live audience and I also envision an online audience. So hopefully can leverage that. I'm just here to introduce myself, just to say hello, and I'm just down the road here. I've been, over the last 6 months, having a lot of fun, going to a lot of music and arts events, meeting a lot of people. It's been a wonderful experience and a joyful experience. And what I'm looking for at this point is I'm looking for volunteers to work with me, because it will be volunteer-based. Am I a little over? I'll just go, there are 3 points that I just want to make. Thank you. So volunteers I'm looking for. I'm looking for a quality piano.
I'm sorry that you have to stick to that 3-minute time limit, unfortunately.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming to introduce yourself. It's fantastic to hear about this. There's, just because the 3 minutes is up, doesn't mean that's the end of communication. But that is the rules for these meetings. But I suggest you reach out to Colette Murphy, the administrator, leave your information with her, and she can get that to all of us. And then if you send a group email to her, she can get it to us because of the Brown Act laws. So we can continue hearing what you're looking for.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cardiff by the Sea Salon. Thank you.
Good woman to meet there. Okay. Are there any more oral communications?
There are no more oral communications.
I was stung by a bee on my foot right before coming in, so I'm a bit off tonight. I didn't think that would really affect me, but so I'm good. I don't believe there are any changes to the agenda.
There are none.
Okay. And we'll move on to number 7, approval of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to read them? And would anyone like to make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to adjourn. Say motion to adjourn.
It says motion to adjourn
Oh, does
rather
it
than
say that?
approve. Mhm.
That was quick.
Yeah.
We're out of here.
I've clicked on the motion to approve, so I'm not sure. Let's try that again.
I do
The
see the
motion
motion
text.
text.
Okay. I'll try it again.
Blame the bee.
Do we have to recuse it?
I remember who it was. Oh, I guess it was on that. Oh. Not sure why it says that. Okay. Let's see. I'll reset that. I'm not sure why it did that. And there we go. It's not letting you vote?
It still says motion to adjourn.
I'm not sure why it's saying that because I didn't click that and I even added approval. So why don't we just take a manual vote and I'm sure that, or you can just go ahead and vote and I'll have the IT person correct that.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn, I don't know.
Shouldn't say that.
Wait.
And Marakovitz, is that recording? Did you get to vote? Okay. Let the record show that the motion passes with all commissioners voting yes.
Thank you. So we'll move on to action items, and we'll go ahead and open up our annual work plan and move through it. Commissioner Hebert, do you have an update for number one for the from the Cultural Tourism Committee?
Yeah, thanks. I do have a little
Great.
bit of an update. The meeting was actually last week, and it was kind of a short one. Two main topics of discussion were the Sister City Exchange Program, which it was an interesting presentation, but isn't really that germane to what we do. And then the application for designation of Encinitas as a cultural arts district, California Cultural Arts District. As background, you may know that I think Oceanside and Barrio Logan are the only two communities or areas in the county that have that designation. And there's kind of a new round of designations pending. And Colette is more involved in this process than I am, so I didn't know if you were planning to present as part of your wrap on that.
I can share some additional information. Basically, California Arts Council is looking at moving forward with the next round, and the opportunity to put our names forward to be considered to apply was one of the things that was being discussed at that meeting. So it's been a while. The first one was in 2017. COVID interrupted the California Arts Council's plan, and they've taken this time to reevaluate the program. So at this point, the next step would be for Encinitas to put that forward, if Encinitas wanted to be considered.
Yeah, just to add, I think council members Allison Blackwell and Joy, I'm completely blanking.
Lines.
Well, thank you. Yeah, are bringing that before the council. And my understanding is that the timing at the moment is there would be an announcement in December of kind of the initial candidates or those who cleared the
Sure.
first bar of. Yeah.
Right, from that initial group of people or entities who put forward that they would like to be considered, California Arts Council would invite the ones that they wanted to actually submit the application. The application is not available just yet.
Right, okay. Yeah, so the other thing, I think we're going to talk about this a little later, but I talked with Nicole White from the city about the parade. So I think that's an item later in our agenda, though. So because I'm on that ad hoc, so we can talk about the parade presence later. Have an update on that. So that's about it.
Okay. Thank you. Moving on to number 2, research available funding opportunities. Does anyone have an update on that? Okay. Move on to number 3, about promoting city arts programs and events. I don't believe there's an update for the Pacific View from the Pacific View ad hoc. Is there one from Art Night?
Not at the moment. I need to touch base and catch up on what the what's coming up with that.
Okay. And we'll move on to number 4, research and coordinate brief presentations. I believe there's someone on the docket for next month.
Yeah, Christiane Kerner, who's the executive artistic director and co-founder of New Village Arts Theater in Carlsbad, has confirmed that she can come speak to us next month. And she obviously has experience in founding a city-based theater from the ground up, and it's been a really big success. So I think it'd be useful to hear from her in the context of the idea of trying to move forward at some point with the theater pad, the Encinitas theater pad that's been kind of in limbo for 30 years. So I'll make sure that gets on the agenda. But
Can you repeat her name again, please?
Yeah, it's Christiane Kerner. Do you need spelling on that, or I can email it to you?
Turner?
Kerner, it's with a K, Kurner.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And just as a reminder, there's an ad hoc for that, but if any one commissioner has an idea for someone to come present to the commission, that's open and can always be sent directly to Colette. Okay, so we'll move on to number 5 under arts education. Is there an update about a future artist residency program? Any research on that?
Well, no, I've been continuing to research, talking to artists and talking to some curators that have worked with artist in residence programs in the past. And, most artist in residence programs have a residency. So trying to explore ways that it might be possible for Pacific View.
Fantastic. And then for the community engagement programs, I think we will have an update next month. We're continuing to look into some pretty interesting programs that Jennifer introduced at other meetings of ours, the Chula Vista Learning Centers. Am I saying that right? And so we'll share more next month. Number 6, support city arts education programs by sharing the proposals, etc., with potential teaching artists. Any updates there? Okay. So we'll move on to public art, and start with. For Pacific View, I don't believe there's any updates for that one. So we'll move on to the sculpture loan program. And that we did have a meeting with a consultant, and we also spoke, I'll update you. We also spoke about upping our schedule. We had shared with staff that we were aiming for January, and we'll try our best to get it done to present to you or fellow commissioners and potentially vote on to send a recommendation to council either next month or in December. A question there for staff: what's the latest date of this month that we could get you something to attach to be viewed to this agenda so that everyone could have time to review it?
It would be ideal if it could be received no later than the 23rd. It needs to be posted no later than November 1st, but keeping in mind that with staff time and reviews and so forth, it's not advisable to wait.
So I'm hearing the 23rd.
Would be appreciated.
Okay. We'll see what we can do by then. And if it's not for our November meeting, then it will certainly be for the December. Yep, I'm moving on. Then we can move on to, don't believe there's anything for Olympus Park. Commissioner Hebert, unless that's something I'm not aware of.
So yeah, that's been kind of the back burner.
Okay,
but,
yeah.
Check back in.
So then we will move on to the artwork donations, and we'll start with Jay's, since he's present, and I'll hand that over to the ad hoc.
Well, we did meet to discuss, and we do pretty much have the same recommendations, and I think that Jay answered a lot of our questions that we had about maintenance, installation, colors, things like that. I will let the rest of the ad hoc make their comments as well, but I think that we have a motion to put forward to vote on this evening. So anything else anybody wants to add?
Nope, nothing to add to that. If there's something else that anybody else wants to add before we make a motion?
So if we voted to go straight to council, okay, because we haven't had a lot of discussions. I know on the last, I had a concern about it. I'm wondering if we've done any image search to make sure it's a copyrightable image, that it hasn't been used elsewhere. And so that's one concern. My other concern is that the palm trees are going right through the middle of the art, and they're not symmetric. And so I can't, that's why I have a hard time looking at it. Because the business of the palm trees is crossing the line, and my eye just wants the line to be moved slightly or symmetric on both sides, because one palm tree goes into so it might be an exercise on ADD, but because of that, that's what I see, and I don't know if that's anything that can be adjusted or if it's this or nothing. So that's my concern.
I don't mean to pick it apart, but when I was looking at it, I was looking at, my eyes were looking at symmetry, and I don't know, maybe my eyeballs tend to do that, but I was noticing if it was like the two blues on the ends are different, and the greens, and then there's a kind of a purplish and like a green. I don't know. Maybe my eyes were hoping for more of a symmetric thing, but that's just a personal thing. I don't want that to get in the way.
Yeah, I think it's good to air any pauses about it. At the same time, I think we should remind ourselves that we're not here for personal preference, but more to make sure that a proposal is sound and has checked all of the boxes, and there's nothing, no huge red flags. So I think if, this is the artwork that's being proposed and offered, and so I think we have to take it as is. At the same time, obviously, Jay, this is his second time here. He's very willing to engage. So if anyone wants to reach out to him directly and have a conversation over coffee, perhaps you could do that. But I think our job as a commission is to approve or disapprove what's being presented.
As it is, because for me, like if it's asymmetric, I can't approve it, so I'd have to say no. Is that, or is there an opportunity to like massage? That's what I'm saying is.
We don't all have to vote the same thing, but
Okay, so
I think if there's more, I'm not hearing from anybody else that there's a point of discussion.
Okay.
As far as voting.
I have questions that while I was pondering about this up to this meeting. I was just wondering, does the city have have they allocated like different places in the building structure to have art? Have they designated? That's what I'm wondering, like, because there's many different other places, right? So has the city said, yes, you can go ahead and you can have public art, or no? And if so, where is it permissible? That's what I'm wondering.
As far as I understand, a location can be proposed, and then it comes before us and before public comment, and then we make a recommendation to council, and council can approve, or ultimately it's their decision to approve or not. So there's nothing formally designated. There's no existing program for at specific sites, but there is a public art policy, and that just has to do with artists proposing different locations, and then location is something that public input is requested via the policy, and also then we want to take it into consideration as does council. So I think this was the wall that was proposed, just like the Mady Morehouse piece. There's no designation per se for under the pergola, but there is an open space where it could be feasible. And Jay said that he was open to other places, or that this is his preference, obviously, is what has been proposed. So unless I'm misunderstanding your question.
No, well, I just want to make sure that the city has maybe designated some space. Have they said anything? Has it been said anywhere? If there can be, because if there can be murals.
It's not necessary for that to happen before this process. So we have a public art policy. Anyone can reach out and offer to make a donation, and then these are the steps. So it is a public building. It's a city-owned building, so it's a free open wall, and then it goes from there.
So aside from, like I mentioned, I piggybacked about the, and I want to make sure, obviously, not to have any personal bias interfere with the process. So I was just wondering if it would be best to have some kind of evaluation system, a rubric, because this might not be the last time something will be forward. So how do you evaluate a yes or a no when you don't have a rubric to base that on?
I think we had him here so that we could ask direct questions and have a part of the meeting tonight, didn't we? Could we have any flexibility about slightly adjusting it to be balanced, or is that, is it going to come out just like this?
Well, I think it's beyond that. I think it's about having an evaluation tool to be able to take it to the next step, to give it to the city council. Otherwise, we'll be like, oh, yes or no. I don't feel comfortable with that. I would like to have something a little bit tangible to make an evaluation.
So I hear you. As it stands today, there's the public art policy, and there is a judging criteria for visual art for even right now for the public loan sculpture. It has, which is based in how it fits with location, if it meets all the requirements, etc. There's no program for specifically for murals, so there's no rubric specifically for murals, and we are working, which we will talk about extensively next month or the following. We have been tasked by City Council to come up with a new rubric for judging the sculpture loan program, and that's something that the way we're working on it can be applied across all public art, donations, and loans. Again, I think right now we have to work with what exists. And so, it's a little bit tricky because we have to keep in mind to keep personal preference out of it. We also then have those tools which have been shared with all of us, the public art policy and the rubric from past examples. And if you don't feel comfortable tonight voting on it, I suppose you could recuse yourself from a vote. But I do feel that it came to us. Jay came once. We were not clear last meeting. I had a lot of questions myself. I take responsibility for that. And now a lot of them seems like they've been worked out, and I would like to move forward to hear the motion.
Sure. We actually, as an ad hoc, can I speak that we propose that the mural be installed for a term of 3 years. And at the conclusion of that period, we would determine the future of the mural, and the evaluation then would assess the possibility of replacing the mural through a rotating mural program modeled on the sculpture loan program, or removing the mural without replacement if the mural program is not yet in place. So that is the recommendation of our ad hoc, and if the ad hoc wants to speak more, add to that. And that,
Yeah, I was just going to say, we recognize the need for some kind of structure to donations that come to the city of Encinitas. The structure that's in place is what we're working with, like you said, public art policy, the form that's available, and then the outline of the project. So we are going to make our recommendation based on those factors. We see that there might be a need for a mural program so that there can be something similar to the sculpture loan program. But these are just recommendations that, at the moment there's no budget for, so we're not going to hinge our motion or our decision on programs that don't exist currently. If we are called to create some kind of guidelines or something similar to the rubric that you're putting together, we can address that when the time comes. But I think we are ready to make a motion to vote tonight. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Please.
I will make the motion, and so I'm going to make the motion to vote to accept the mural donation put forth by Campagna Studios with the recommended conditions, which are that it would be a temporary installation period of 3 years. And then I'd like to add, and I'm not sure if it works this way, but I would like to add that a no vote would mean that the ad hoc committee would review the concerns raised in this discussion, and then we can return with the revised proposal next month.
Does that make sense? So a yes vote would mean we accept the donation. A no vote would mean we take these, concerns and come back with a revised motion for the next meeting.
Yeah, I think that is allowable. I would like to remind everyone that this has been offered. It's been now 2 months, and so what's offered can always go away again if that happens. But if that's the motion you would like to make, then I don't see any glitch in the making of it.
Just wanted to say that, yeah, I know better about personal bias because, definitely. I'm just saying that just my concern about just staying objectively. And so that's just my main concern that weighs on my vote is about objective evaluation.
Okay, so a motion has been put forth. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Let the record show that the motion passes with 5 commissioners voting yes, 1 commissioner voting no, and 1 commissioner abstaining.
Thank you. Okay, so that comment doesn't go unheard, of course. I think all of us agree that an objective way of evaluating and understanding how we are putting forth recommendations is important, and it's something I think that's exciting about this year being on the commission, is that we are working on it, we're talking about it, and at the same time we're making decisions in real time. And so I think, you know, we're straddling those and we're doing it fairly successfully. I also want to remind everyone that I think it's awesome to have disagreement and to, you know, vote what you believe, and so thank you for that. Okay, so we will move on to number 8 under performing arts. This is research-free and low-cost community engagement program possibilities that use the Steinway D piano at the community center and make recommendations to staff.
Okay. All right, in the past, so I'm currently working solo. Again, it's open for more members to be in the ad hoc. In the past, I've researched some possibilities and some ideas. And last month, I presented the document. I shared the document with the commission, and continuing to look forward to it. But I wanted to propose maybe a recommendation for this number 8, and I have a letter that I was wondering if I can read to be considered as a letter to the council, and it's short. And please let me know if anything needs to be drafted. I always rewrite things over and over and over. Dear members of the City Council, the Commission for the Arts is reporting a recommendation to the Council in alignment with Ordinance Code, that ordinance symbol, 2.46.040. The ordinance includes that the Commission will promote the arts within the community through quality visual, performing, and literary arts programming, exposure and advocacy, arts education programs, and the development of arts venues. Through a work plan, item number 8, labeled as performing arts, including researching community engagement program possibilities utilizing the Steinway D piano at the community center and making recommendations to city staff, a potential program genre has been identified reflecting all of the ordinance criteria for further development for the 2025-26 year. The City of Encinitas has a tremendous asset with the Steinway D housed at the banquet hall of the Recreation Center. To support this work plan item, is recommended by the Commission that unique programs be developed to feature the instrument in new ways by endorsing the concept of mentorship for aspiring young piano musicians of all ages and levels, led by master artists in the field. This program genre encompasses a unique proposal of the art of piano playing, including piano duet, piano in a chamber group, and piano in a jazz ensemble with master classes by artists and joint performance opportunities for elementary, high school, and college students. This program resembles the Youth Piano Concerto Competition, which has been implemented, let me say this again, it's a bad sentence. This program resembles the successfully implemented Youth Piano Concerto Competition program with partnerships with organizations, except in festival format. A preliminary program outline has been presented to staff and to the Commission. The Commission for the Arts recommends this program to involve more youth in the art of piano performance in the community and the enjoyment of the piano, especially the beautiful Steinway D. please consider endorsing this program for the City of Encinitas Cultural Arts Division for the year 2025-26. The Commission for the Arts has voted in favor of this recommendation to council on da-da-da-da. Sincerely, the members of the Commission for the Arts, with everyone's names on it.
Do you have an outline also that you're sending with?
So, yes, if this was submitted, if this was voted, and there would be also an attachment of the very same thing that I shared with the commission.
It's not fresh in my mind what it was attached on our last.
Yeah, that was attached at the last meeting.
Right.
It was an attachment. It was kind of a draft outlining a perspective type of program, and it could be, of course, the draft could be. It's just a draft. It could be fixed up a little bit. Take out some of the non-essentials, but just keep to the whole idea, which I'm trying to come across, is mentorship and master classes, because we've had a lot of wonderful performances, and if you read these people, if you read the artists' bios, it's pretty impressive. So I think that young people should learn from the people who've have experienced success, and that would close more of the gap with the the professionals and the beginning professionals, the aspiring artists, and that's something to shoot for them when they can work with somebody who's already pretty successful.
Thanks, Jennifer. Can you clarify, just correct me if I'm wrong, but so this is something we're being asked to vote on for the wording of this?
Yes, so this is a perspective letter to recommend like a new type of program genre to work on for the year 2025-26.
So would this not need to be presented as an agenda item for us to vote on it? To vote on?
This is, it's part of our agenda because we are able to talk about anything on our work plan, and this is,
okay.
I think what I'm understanding is that you've developed a program, presented to staff, and now want to share with council.
Share with the commission.
Shared with the commission. If I'm remembering correctly, I don't think everyone saw that attachment last time because I think it got lost. It's important always to open up when the agenda comes. You click on the work plan, and then to the work plan are many attachments. And so last meeting it was attached, but I don't believe that many of the commissioners had read it. So there was some confusion when you talked about it last time. So I'm just trying to kind of bullet point in my mind, and maybe one suggestion, since it's easy to find past agendas and find that, is to wait on making a motion to approve this letter and send it to council, so that each commissioner can read over the program, come with any questions, and maybe I would also suggest since that's the case, attaching this letter, since you have the chance if we were to wait. Does that feel?
Yeah, it sounded as though the wording might be a little bit different from the original one, though. Is that right? You were saying that the wording you just read is a little bit different from the one that was posted earlier, or is that, did I hear you say
No,
that?
this letter's never been posted. I'm looking at it.
Right, but I mean the proposal that was an attachment last time, is that different? Is that
There was an outline that was attached of the program.
Okay.
And then this is a letter to.
Okay. Oh, so the attachment wasn't the letter, it was an outline. Okay.
So Jennifer, I just want to understand, just synopsis-wise, that your letter basically stating that you do have a program, that you have researched, that you are recommending to council. with the recommendations that you have stated in the letter.
Yes, would you like me to repeat any of that?
No, but that's basically the gist of, if I understand correctly.
Yes, because, well, there's the number 9, which is already implemented right now. So number 8 is very related to it. It's, program possibilities. And number 9 is a program possibility, and it's already in play. It's already, in progress. So this is a different one and a different type of program genre, I guess you can say, because the other one is competition, and this one is a festival.
Let me ask you this. When you presented it to staff, what happened?
The staff was, they said that this year it's not feasible, and, due to a lot of things going on. I don't know, go ahead, you can.
There are no resources allocated for this program. It's not in the approved budget.
That's why we're looking at to plan ahead and for next year, because the other one is implemented, and this could be a potential, another one to utilize under the performing arts category, right there.
Right. So we, as a council, are proposing, as the Art Council, we are proposing to make the program that you are recommending, proposing the program to. I'm losing. So we are recommending to council the program that you are recommending, as you're recommending it, with all the benefits that you're recommending it, and then we're asking the council to approve it, or not, based on what resources are available to the staff. Yeah?
Yes, so the premises of it is in the middle of the letter, and about mentorship. So that could be, the city council might like that idea, and then the city can take that idea and run with it and make,
I think that what Chair Fox was suggesting would be super helpful, to post that full, the full text of the letter for us to be able to digest it a little bit, because it sounds very promising, but it's kind of hard to just hear it once and really be able to make a determination.
Yeah, I understand.
On it.
So I was thinking that I like the idea, the suggestion. So I guess this could be like a preliminary thing, and then the next time I will submit in time for a copy of this letter so you can read it, and also the document again, so you can take a look at that. So that'll be an attachment.
So if we're asking the city council to support one thing, should we look at other choices? I mean, writing a letter just without doing any research on other opportunities, are we asking them to use the entire resources, extra resources that come in for music, or? I think it's a lot to take in, putting my name on a petition like that.
I think if I'm understanding correctly, just kind of as an overview, this is an item on our work plan that we will, we'll give updates on all of the things that we've done at the end of the year. So this is a very specific research, free and low-cost community engagement for the Steinway at the community center. So it's very specific. So Jennifer has put in a lot of work, has done a lot of research, talked to a lot of people, made an outline, and proposed a program to staff. There's no budget for it this year or time, and so I think what Jennifer is saying is, well, it sounds like this ad hoc is complete, actually, right? And so now that that's the case, let's present that program to council and say, hey, we think this is a great program. We understand that there's that the reality of it this year is just not there, but we don't want it to fall through the cracks. So our recommendation is just that you be aware that here is an outline of a program, and you do with it what you want, right, for the next year, or that we recommend that you budget for it for the next half year, whatever it is. Is that? Am I?
Yeah, you said that very
framing that
well.
right? Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, 'cause it is specific about the Steinway D. And this is, and I'm thinking really like something very unique and special, the concept of a festival type of format, and also different ways of playing the piano besides just one person. And that will make it very appealing and exciting for aspiring musicians. And you don't find that very often. You find a lot of solo pianists, everywhere. But how about duettists, duos, or chamber? And there has been, actually, people have been have asked me about, well, what about other instruments, too? So there's an opportunity to pair the piano with other instruments as well,
So just a second. So Katie and Jennifer, can this be an example of maybe how an ad hoc finishes its work and sort of closes something and says, well, the work for number 8 is done and we are recommending to council. Is that correct? Am I understanding that correctly?
Well, not every single work plan item is going to end up in a letter or something, to council. There might be different ways of having closure on each one of these work plan items. Does that answer that?
But I would say that is absolutely true. Each is unique, and I'd say yes. Like on this one specifically, there's only one person on this ad hoc. At this point, you're you've done the work of presenting. Staff has said there's no time or money to implement, so I don't see any value of using your time in researching and coming up with yet another program that wouldn't be able to be implemented. And so I would say absolutely this one, that's a great way of framing why we are making a recommendation to council now, to say, okay, this work has been done and we're ready to make the recommendation, and then we can basically say complete on that ad hoc.
My advice would be to include how it also addresses the free and low-cost community engagement portion of that.
Great, yeah.
Is that something that we have to do, or does that staff do that? I just want clarification.
It's a commission work plan.
Sounds good, thank you.
So
Okay.
the next time, if you like, we can postpone this, and I can bring, we could have an attached letter and again, the attachment, and then you can read the letter and make the connection. We decide from there.
Great. Thank you for all your work on that. I am realizing that I skipped over. I think I just got stung by another bee. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That we skipped over the Mady Morehouse donation, and I wasn't the only one, I guess, who forgot. So I would like to back up and go back into public art number 7, because we have another decision to be made about the Mady Morehouse piece. So once again, I'll hand that over to the ad hoc.
I think that we had made a recommendation and then it went to a public vote. So are there other action items for us now?
The difference is you now have public comment, so if you wanted to amend or augment your recommendation to include specifically which site you were recommending, you could do that, or your prior recommendation could go as voted on, where it is those 2 locations and then leaving it up to council to decide which one.
I see. So does everybody remember? Should we do a recap? Does everybody remember the 2 locations? Yeah, okay.
And did everyone get a chance to see the comments on the proposed public art donation that was attached?
I did.
So there were, let's see this. So there were survey responses, 22 survey responses, and then comments, responses, 7 specific, like written in comments, and 70% roughly. I think that it should go under the pergola, and 20% roughly think it should go on the side of the lobby facing 3rd Street, and 10%, which 10% of 22 people about thought that they didn't want this accepted at all. Responses are cool, great sculpture, how fortunate Encinitas is to be offered such nice artwork by a beloved local artist. There's one that says the piece does not relate to anything at Pacific View. And then a beautiful piece, thank you for a wonderful art center, and love it. So that's that. I believe we recommended to either site. And does anyone want to modify that now?
Well, I would put up for discussion, modifying it to be under the pergola. I feel like because of the size of the sculpture and the details of the sculpture, it's a little bit hard to recognize what it is if it's further away, which it would be in the other site. I also think that other site would be great for a larger sculpture, so it would be kind of a shame in 2 ways. So I kind of feel strongly about the pergola space, but I don't know. We haven't spoken
Do we
about
need to vote again? Would that be the next
If you would
step?
like to modify your recommendation, you would need to vote again.
Personally, I'm fine to leave things as they are and just have this all go to council and let them make the final decision. But if you feel strongly that we need to vote again or change our recommendation, that's okay.
I value Carla's comments as well as public input for people who were there at the site. I think most of this was gathered from signs that are at Pacific View. And my feeling is if we can be as specific to council as possible, let's be. So I would recommend that we modify our recommendation, but I would like to hear from other commissioners.
Then should I make a motion to modify our recommendation to City Council to recommending the site, accepting the art piece, or accepting the donation and installing it under the pergola?
Okay, I'll second.
Let the record show that the motion passes unanimously with all commissioners voting yes.
Thank you. Okay, so thanks for jumping back to that. So we will move on to number 9 with the youth piano concerto competition. Is there an update there, or?
Sure. The piano concerto competition has been launched, and the 3 pieces are Haydn 11, Kabaleski 3, and Mendelssohn 1. So it's on its way. The website looks great. Now we'll be entering the waiting period again.
Fantastic.
And we're working on talking with Commissioner Hebert about some other ways of getting the word out.
Yeah, Commissioner Morakovitz has done a great job of pulling this all together and making sure that it happens early, and shared with me the materials. And I have reached out so far to the Union Tribune to just say, I realize this is a ways away, but if there's anything you can do to let people know, so that, as you pointed out, particularly the young musicians who need a lot of time to practice, so they need a lot of lead time for this competition. So if we can get the word out there on that. So that's how far it's gotten so far. Hoping to get a response, and I'll keep setting along what you provided.
Yeah, I think it's important. The hard part is getting the word out, because then people might, some people out there then would be like, oh, I wish I knew about it, and but I'm not a social media expert, but it is, you try your best in getting it out, and it did get out last year. It did get out, surprisingly, across the U.S. But, the internet, you don't have to, you can just Google anything and find anything anywhere. It's important, even though it's launched, is to keep the fire going. So I'm going to try to keep at it for the next couple of months. I think that's key, so it doesn't burn out. And I think that's what keeps the excitement going. And then people will patron what's going on here with the city, with the performances and things like that. So you have to keep at it until the deadline.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so for visual art, the ad hoc will assist city staff with recommendations, planning, and implementation of Art Night. No one's on that ad hoc. Is there any update as far as Art Night is concerned?
I have it as part of my informational session.
Okay. Does anyone have any, because during this part we can ask informational questions, and during your reports we can only ask clarifying questions, is that right?
Yes.
So does anyone have any informational questions about Art Night? Since we don't have an ad hoc on it. Okay. So we'll move on to number 11, the visual art selection panel. I know that that the jury has received the selections, and we are to fill out our jury sheets by the 14th. And so that's exciting to be able to look at that. And I don't think any other update on that one.
Can I ask a question about that?
Mm-hmm.
Number 11? So, wait a minute. Is this is the one for the prelude for the two sites that are open, right?
No, this is the visual art selection panel, so it reviews artists. It's for all of the sites in the city that will be installed over the year, the different shows. The sculpture loan program is, I think that's what you're talking about. I did kind of breeze through that one because we'll do a much bigger update, but I did forget to say that survey is up. I'm assuming you will talk about that in your report as well.
Are we allowed to, since that kind of breezed through, but can we go back and ask a question about that?
Not, I mean,
We've gone backwards once, but
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, you're supposed to complete each one and move forward. But
Yeah.
you're still within the work plan, so ask away.
go ahead.
Yeah, this was something that was on my mind. Okay, so about the two sites that are currently being surveyed. And my apologies since you brought it up, but I was just wondering, has the methodology changed since the first time around?
As reviewing what we updated last month, there's been 2 processes set in place. One is an expedited process to fill these 2 sites, which is operational, and staff is in charge of that, and it is using the same process. And then we are working on another revamp of the program, which includes new juring criteria and more suggestions for making the program smoother and more robust as far as shifting public input away from like and dislike toward just engagement and understanding what we all want out of a public art program. And yeah.
So what would that look like? I'm sorry. Would that look like some kind of rubric or?
We are going to give a much more intensive update next month.
Okay, I can't wait.
Thanks. Okay, so for number 12, the ad hoc will assist city staff and Encinitas student advisory panel with student art exhibitions at City Hall. Is there an update on that one?
No update.
Okay. For number 13, the drafting of the bylaws, we did meet. I feel we're making good progress. We put a huge brainstorm together of all possible topics. We divvied them up. We looked at Parks and Recs bylaws as an example, and other bylaws that exist, and we had a general discussion about what the role of the commission is and how these bylaws can help clarify and guide that process. I really wanted to get something posted to our agenda so that everyone could look at it. We weren't really able to meet until the 3rd week, and so that date passed. So I apologize about that, but I'm certain that next month we will have something attached. I'm really looking forward to your input for bylaws.
Who's on that ad hoc?
Myself, Jennifer, and Nieti. And then 14, 15 are not relevant. And yeah, I would like to, so the pending, obviously that never got on there, but I am curious about just the Poet Laureate program was mentioned by City Council and then just never mentioned again, or is there any update on that?
Staff has not received any further direction.
Okay. Okay, so that concludes the work plan, unless anybody has anything else? No. Okay. So we'll move on to the holiday parade, action item 8B.
I guess that's me. I think am I the one on this? Oh, that's right, Jennifer, you're here too. I know it's
There's room
really
for one
still,
more.
Yeah, I know, right? I went ahead and made some inquiries, and as I said, I talked to Nicole White from the city who's handling the applications and started the application, but she's requiring this year that we have they have a narrative that the announcer reads, and they want the narrative done before you send in the application, which is due in November. And last time we were able to submit it later when we had the details. So I haven't sent that in yet, but I do have a good candidate for a conveyance for us, which is a vintage Jaguar. Someone I know who's a car guy has offered to drive in the parade. And it's bright yellow, so it's not really holiday colors, but but it'll stand out. So I think we talked about, I believe the theme is creativity in motion. So I'd like to try to work up a few ideas for how we within reason, how we can sort of manifest that in our float. So open to any ideas, but usually we at least string lights on the vehicle and everything. So, and anybody is welcome to participate. We took turns walking alongside and riding last year. This is actually kind of a small car, so you might have to plan to walk, but,
Now, is it
it's fun. It's a good time. So
is it a convertible?
this one's not a convertible, no.
Oh, rats.
We had, I think, 2 years ago we had a convertible. Last year was a Woody that is now gone back to the Woody Club. So, yeah. If anything else, if anyone else has a cooler car they want to bring into the mix, that's fine. But I think this is a good candidate. So, yeah.
So is it able to put a banner on it? I mean,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For
be
sure.
protective of it. you know?
Yeah, definitely. And maybe we can come up with some other decorations that sort of speak to the theme. So as I say, open to ideas. And we do have about, I can't remember the exact date, but the application is due in November, so I can work up a narrative for the announcer to read and run it by anybody who's interested, and then get it finalized. So. Yeah,
And-
November. Oh, I'm sorry. It's right here, November 12th. That's when the application is due. So,
Okay, so next time we can hone in on that.
yeah.
And, one more person. Come on.
Yeah, it's okay. It's
And will we have the banner that says like the Commission for the Arts, or?
yeah, I believe so. We ordered those. We normally order those, and the city has them created, right?
There's a standard one that gets created as part of, everyone has one. If there is some material, some content that you would like, I can have one made in addition to that standard one. And
Okay.
you just need to get it in time, because the plotter, as I'm sure you can imagine, ahead of the parade gets really busy.
Right.
So the sooner you got that information to staff, the higher likelihood it would be you would have it in time for the parade.
Right. Got it.
I definitely recommend thinking about putting a banner for Pacific View, sign up for
Yeah.
classes or Amazing Pacific View, something, because it's one opportunity to get the public, the word out. And so
Yeah.
many people go to that parade, and you're driving slowly, so people can read it and see it, and
Yeah.
maybe have that be part of something that you write up to, just as a
Yeah. Absolutely. Let people
little
know.
shout out.
Yeah, we had that last year. We had a banner, and we mentioned that it was pending. I'm getting a collection of banners now, but unfortunately, we can't really reuse them, because they use the new theme, each year's new theme and logo. So if anybody needs an old banner for any reason, feel free. But that makes a lot of sense too. And also we had a good presence with the piano competition. There was a separate banner for that. And as I mentioned before, Jennifer was well attired and musical note.
I have to find that
So-
dress. I don't know
That's
where it
good.
is.
Yeah. So it is a good opportunity to get the word out, and it's a good reminder.
In the parade, I've noticed sometimes they give out handouts, like little things. Is that something we can do if you're going to walk super slow? Maybe
That's a good
It's
good
just
question.
getting
Yeah.
Pacific View, just as much publicity as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know if there's a policy on that in terms of like litter.
Check with
and-
Nicole. I know for sure handing out candy or throwing anything from the floats is not permitted, but actually handing out flyers, double check with Nicole.
Yeah.
It might
make a
be
note of
nice to
that.
have like some kind of card, like a postcard with QR codes, to like PVAC, or.
Mhm. Yeah.
But then there's
Yeah,
just thousands of people there. It
Yeah.
exhausts
Yeah.
your pile like before you get to the main street.
Maybe we can just paint a giant QR code on the side of the
Oh,
car. And,
exactly.
Yeah, I think it's a
Yeah.
great idea. As much PR as we can use.
right.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. It's a ton of fun. So there's that.
Yeah,
Thank
so-
you.
No, more to come.
Okay. Okay, so we'll move on to number 9, informational items. And here hear about the Cultural Arts Division report.
We are working on a number of things. The, excuse me, the survey for the remaining, for community input on the remaining 2 sites for the sculpture loan program is due back on October 14th. And that will give enough time for staff, excuse me, to put those results together so that it can show up on the commission's November agenda. And also, there will be a public hearing at that agenda for the public to come and hopefully share more of their input so that the commission can then make a recommendation to council for their consideration. And I need to still see where that will be, but the hope is that it gets on their agenda in time to then make arrangements and have the sculptures installed sometime in January 2025. We are working on.
Sorry to interrupt. There is a clarifying comment for that, which I just noticed. I don't know if it's
Well, I have,
appropriate.
I guess, to clarify, when you said there's a public commentary at our next, what is that exactly?
So it's just really making sure it's a public hearing, so putting out that information so that the public knows, in addition to just open, having your 3 minutes, that is an intentional part of this review.
So it's a set-aside time during our meeting where the public can come and give us their feedback on these two.
So it's part of the agenda.
Uh-huh.
And then it's noted, this is the beginning of the public hearing. All who want to say, have things to say, do, and then the public hearing closes.
Mm-hmm. And also, could you clarify how does the public hear about these things, both the survey and the hearing? How do they find out about these things?
The commission is certainly part of that, one would hope. We share all of that information with you and that it goes out through your different channels. And then through the city's channels, newsletters, emails. There's a flyer at the sites, at the commission's recommendation, at the 2 sculpture sites. Posters with QR codes were put up to make it easier, so people knew there's actually, there's pictures of the 2 sculptures for the Sun Vista site, and then at the Leucadia site, these are the ones being considered here. And trying to think of all the other places. This was abbreviated, so not all of the different ways that the city could do it could take place within that 2-week period of time. It's going to be in the city's newsletter coming out on Thursday. Just given where it came out, couldn't make it in the last one, so it'll be in this one. But a lot of advocacy. Mm-hmm. All right, next big event is Dia de los Muertos. So staff is working on the ofrenda. The position in the library needs to be a little bit different because the ballot box is currently sitting in the usual location. That will go up on October 29th and be up through the end of library hours on Sunday, November 3rd. The event itself will be on Day of the Dead, November 1st, from 3:30 to 6:30. There are flyers up here. If you want to take any to share around the community, that would be wonderful. Pacific View, we are working on the next activity guide. So working with all of the contract instructors and staff instructors, imagining how these things fill out an even longer day, because hours extend to be till 5 p.m. starting in January, and then at the end of March through 7 p.m. on Thursday. So staff is very involved in that process right now. Also working on Art Night, which is November 16th.
Just to ask a question about Pacific View, How's attendance for those classes?
Some classes are selling out, some have light attendance. It's a little bit all over the board. Just kind of depends, day of the week, which class, kind of other things going on.
Great.
So can I ask about that? With that asked, is there a tracking system, tracking how this is going for this first trial year?
Staff is definitely tracking that and other data as well.
Is that, just to follow up, is that something we can access or at some point, or request, or just?
It will be in a report that goes to City Council.
Okay.
So that'll be
It'll
available.
public. Yeah,
Mhm.
okay, thank you.
All right, we covered that. And then the visual art exhibitions, Katie mentioned. The jurors, we've gotten a couple back already and are expecting the remaining ones to be back by the 14th. And that's about all we have.
Well,
A lot of
actually,
big things going on.
Actually, you're missing one.
What am I missing?
The piano competition.
Oh, you covered that in your work plan.
Well, I know, but coming from you, saying that it's
We also have flyers for that
awesome.
over there.
Actually, yeah, I have a clarifying question for that. About the publicity for the piano competition and maybe some long-range plans or goals, or is that something maybe to talk about through an ad hoc?
That would definitely be more part of the work plan. That's not so much informational as much as, we have the flyers and the website is updated, so is there a clarifying question?
No, I think that covers that. So yeah, if we have maybe an ad hoc, we can talk about that, talk about the further.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for those updates, those reports. I don't believe there's any commissioner member initiated agenda item.
There are none.
Okay. And would anyone want to put on a future agenda item added by commissioners? No, and there have been none. Okay, so we can move on to commissioners' reports. So anyone can start down the line if anyone has anything to share.
I always forget to prepare a report, and I don't have anything. I have something to share. There was a company that reached out to me that I would like to talk about to all of you on the commission, and it's called Art Pharmacy, and they're Georgia-based, and they have what they do basically is to use art for healthcare, and to use art as a modality for healing through the insurance system. So I wanted to talk about them because I would urge each of the commissioners here to look them up also. They are trying to see how the community in Encinitas can be more involved with them, so that the artists...
I think, sorry to interrupt.
Sorry.
For the commissioner reports, you've shared the information that we can look up. If it's something that you want to talk about as far as commissioner involvement or Encinitas involvement,
Right.
then that would be a commissioner agenda item that you could write up and add.
Right, no, I don't think this fits as the agenda item. It's just information I'm giving. The commissioners, if they want to, just get more information about the company. But
Okay.
I don't believe, I did check with staff, I don't believe this could be an agenda item. Because it doesn't fit the
Sorry, maybe I jumped in there.
criteria.
I thought you were talking about commissioner involvement or the city of Encinitas involvement.
No, maybe I
Okay.
phrased it incorrectly. What I meant to say is, the commissioners can, if they will, just be. I was just taken aback by companies like that doing this kind of work. Commissioners cannot be involved, or the Art Commission cannot be involved officially, or I cannot initiate an agenda item for that, but I still wanted to talk about them so that each one of you know what they're doing and that they are expanding within California. And companies like that are. So
Awesome.
that was it.
Thank you.
I don't think I have anything else beyond, we already talked about cultural tourism, the Cultural Tourism Committee, so I'm going to pass.
I don't have any additional items. Thanks.
Well, I'm looking forward to this time of year. So I don't have a report yet because I haven't attended it yet, but next time.
Okay, I'm going to follow suit here and call it a day. So we will adjourn the meeting at 6:36. And thank you to everyone who is here and listening and here. So see you next month.